the Elgato, a game capture device used to record HDMI input, composite as video, or component input, and convert it into an HD signal, and allowing you to record straight off it to your computer. It's what I have to use for my videos, and as you can see by the flickering going on behind me, it just won't work the correct way. However, this only happens with NES, with my NES clone. If I do it with my original Xbox, it works perfectly. So, in this video, we're going to troubleshoot this and try to fix it. And hopefully, if this is happening to you, you guys will see the approaches I use. And hopefully, if you guys have the problem, I'll be able to help you solve that issue. So let's get into it.
I'm just a step away, I'm just a breath away, losing my faith today. I am just a man, not superhuman. Save me from the hate. It's just another war, just another family torn. Just a step on the edge, just another day in the world we live. I'm in here.
So the first thing that you're going to notice is that it keeps flickering on my TV, but on my laptop, the picture will not stop, even in demo mode, when the game starts to play itself. However, I've noticed that when there's more activity, the picture will stay on a little bit longer, so I'm assuming it has something to do with an inactivity thing, or maybe just these composite wires aren't good. I already changed the RCA jacks twice with extra cables I had laying around, and it's not that. And here's proof that another input device will work on this thing. Okay, so now as you can see, I took out the NES and plugged in my original Xbox just to prove a solid picture will happen on everything else except for my NES. Power this on. So the picture itself is fine, you know, it's a little dark, a little bouncy, but the picture maintains on everything. This is beautiful, to be honest. This is better than an AV. Now, you know, I can move it around and the picture stays no matter what I do. So, I'm gonna switch to the NES now and you'll see what happens. So all I did was change it to the NES and it stays on for a few seconds, but then, alright. What? Did that just work? Nope. But its behavior is very, very weird, and I can only imagine that it's got to be a problem with the console. But you know, now it's actually staying on even longer. I cannot fathom this. I've changed the HDMI wire, and I figured that the HDMI wire I was using before was no good, so I actually switched it to my original to my Xbox One HDMI wire for now until I can get another one. Because I need a nice one for my 4K TV, like one that's a high speed, but I'm still figuring this out. The next thing I need to do would have to troubleshoot the console itself and then the Elgato. So, with no choice, let's take apart the retro. Some other troubleshooting things I've done was I tried changing the switch box, I've tried inputting it from the switch box, I've tried a different switch box. I have my old backup one, well, my old one here, which I use now as a backup. Nothing's working. I switched the wires. I tried different everything. So the next step would be to take this thing apart, my NES clone, and then take my Elgato apart. And I've been getting better at hardware the last few years since I've been playing around with it a lot more, but I'm still far from good, you know. I mean, even when I got this cartridge, every time I turned it on, it went right to Duck Hunt. So, there was a ton of corrosion on the contact points, and all I had to do was take the NES cartridge apart and put cleaning solution on the contact, swipe it off. And now we have this, but it keeps going to black. So, without any other choice, let's just take this thing apart and see if I can figure this out just based on eyeballing it. Alright guys, as I work on figuring out how to get better shots of me doing stuff like this is the best I can do. This is what I've always been doing when I take things apart. I am trying to make room in my room for a a little table where I can put all my tools and have a little bit of a work area like this, but in the meantime, this method has always worked out for me. So, in cases like this, you need to really like, you know, they like to put screws underneath these rubber feet, and sometimes they like to hide one in the sticker. But the rubber feet are usually somewhat easy to take off. Sometimes you can use either a flathead screwdriver or just a little bit of a pocket knife and just kind of go in an upright angle. So that's what I'll be doing. Sometimes before taking things apart, you just want to check the contacts. Maybe shove a flashlight in there. If you have some compressed air, maybe just blow it out. But, you know, that's not the case. What I'm really just trying to do is just open this, get back here, and see if there's corrosion, dust, just something maybe shorting out this jack right here. And then if that doesn't work, I gotta take apart my Elgato. I also do want to mention that doing this sometimes you'll break the original feet if they hide the screws under there in this case. So, you know, rubber feet are very inexpensive, and to be honest, these are kind of surface mounted, meaning they kind of meet the surface. So even when it's straight down, it still does a lot of sliding around. So I would replace these anyway. You know, rubber feet can go from like $1 to like up to $5, but I'm probably gonna get clear ones to replace these. So until then, let me just keep on doing this tier. This is the most basic circuit I've ever fucking seen. I mean, the only communication with these ribbons are just the joysticks and the power and inputs just all going to this main motherboard. I'm assuming on the other side is just an epoxy blob, where the real brains go. And you know, you got the power and reset here, DC, the voltage on the other side. But you know, I don't see anything here that would, you know, that would really. I mean, it's making good contact here, negative ground, and you know, it's a little wobbly, but that's because this thing is just so cheaply made. I mean, these screws, so to be honest, are like the best things ever. Or the screws are the only things good about this thing, the way it was made. Everything else is just really cheap, you know. I mean, I could really just 3D print a whole new thing and just use this circuitry. But yeah, you know, while we're here, everything is just really hot glued into place. I mean, you don't even have solder for the fucking LED. It's just hot glue, hot glue, hot glue. Everything is just held in by screws, even the resistors, which is good, because if this thing ever breaks, you know, the parts for this would be very inexpensive. Even the joystick ports are fucking just super glued in place. But while I'm here, I'll just do a little bit of digging and just see if that works. You know, sometimes, you know, it's like a ghost type thing. You know, just taking apart something like this and putting it back together is just something that can make it work. So let's see if I find anything. Just show you guys how exactly they made this a little. So as you can see, if this thing would stop auto zooming, that they had two options here for an LED, and what they chose to do is to hot glue these two wires and extend it to the top. There's even room for another LED, and then there's all these loose solder joints where I can mod this. Like, I could throw in a battery right here, eliminate this DC jack overall, and make this portable. Like, they made so much room for hacking in this, and it's just so cheaply made that it's just ridiculous. Like, who needs a Raspberry Pi when you can just buy fucking one of these things for just the purpose, and you get the fucking NES jacks anyway? Shit. Anyway, yeah, so it's a little loose. So, I mean, I didn't do anything except to push it down a little bit more. So I'll reconnect it now and see if this will stop the flickering. Alright, I am not even gonna put a NES cartridge in it, because even when you turn it on, it displays a weird test image. So hopefully we got it on my laptop, and okay, the picture's staying. How long? Alright. It was something, but I did hear a click. I did hear a click though. So I'm assuming I'm on the right track here. I'm gonna put in the NES game now and see what happens. Alright guys, so it seems to be behaving even worse now. It's actually on and then off for longer periods of time. Like I said, it seems to like activity, so I seem to have been on the right path though. Like, messing around with that RCA jack seemed to have done something before, because before the picture went off and it was in that test image mode, it seemed to have stayed on. But I think the pop was because I guess the pressure I put on it must have released and maybe had like a little shock. But still, you know, plugged into regular RCA, it works. The only workaround I'd be able to do right now without soldering would be to get a splitter and split the connection up. So until then, guys, I appreciate you watching me try to fix this thing. So, you know, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to be informed when my next video comes out, just hit the subscribe button down below and the bell to get notifications. If you guys have anything to ask me or say, you can leave a comment down below. If you guys really like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you guys want to follow me on social network, and here's my Facebook and Instagram. Until that point, YouTube, I'll see you in the next one.